Hello everyone, it's Mary. Welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited today because I'm actually getting to use some pattern paper that is in my stash. So I'm going to have a lot of fun making these cards. These were kind of out of the norm for me. It's not something I normally make. And so I thought that was good to kind of stretch my comfort zone. I am going to be using the May Small Die of the Month kit from Spellbinders for this. So these are the dies that you get. Now here I'm showing you against some white cardstock what they'll look like. They will cut into your paper. And so they are meant to be sort of like border dies on the edges of your paper. So that's really fun. Lots of pretty designs from this kit. So I'm showing you all of those. You know, I love to cut out my dies first when I get them because I can't really see what they could create unless I see them die cut. So now I'm going to show you a trick because these little buggers will get stuck in there. And this tool, this is the first trick. So the first tool is this styrofoam thing with this roly picky thing. Those are the official names. And you just roll it right over the die. And so they pop right out of the die instead of poking them constantly. The second tip is to take some dryer sheets and run this through your die cutting machine. What that will do is it will put a wax coating on your dies. And so when you run them back through on the paper, they should pop right out. Now that wax will only last you, it has a limit. So it could be anywhere from 5 to 15 runs through your die cutting machine before you have to run it through the wax again. So that's tip number 2. And here you'll see they just kind of fall apart and fall right out. So much, much easier. So I would recommend with something so intricate like this, any die you have in your stash, that you try one of these 2 techniques. I'm sure there's more things you can do out there, but hopefully that helps. Okay, I'm going to make 3 cards and I'm going to use these 2 border dies. I think these 2 spoke to me. They were super fun and super dainty and pretty. Not normally the kind of card I make, so I thought that was kind of neat. All right, so I'm going to run those through my die cutting machine, and then when I pull them off, I'm going to see the beautiful design. I did not run this through my wax as the tip I just showed you when I did this. But as you saw, everything stuck to that die. And so that's definitely a recommended technique. And now you're going to see I have this really pretty border for my card. I decided to add that same border to the other side of the card, so now it has some symmetry. Okay, so there is really not much explaining that has to be done with this kit. Normally with Spellbinders kits, there's a lot of intricate pieces that I have to kind of walk through myself first as I'm doing it on video and then talk about it. But this is just very simple. We're just card making today. That's it. I got to use up some of this pattern paper from my stash. I bought it at a local craft store, and when I picked it up, I was like, this is just, and I had to talk myself not into buying it. That was the easy part. I tried to talk myself out of buying it. Look at how pretty this pattern paper is. So I am going to go through and I'm going to pick out some of them because I'm going to be using the pattern paper not in any earth-shattering ways, but just a couple different ways. So you want to go through your pads, the ones that you swore you would use when you bought, if you have not identified yourself as a collector. Because if you've identified yourself as a collector, then I understand you're not going to want to use it. And it's just going to sit there and be pretty inside its own casing and never be seen. Pull your paper out. Let's use it up. Okay, so I'm just showing you right here some of those things. I'm trying to kind of angle or measure this out to what it's going to need, how much I'm going to need. And I have to say, it was kind of hard to use this piece, this big of a piece, knowing half of it would have been hidden behind the white cardstock. So you can do things about that. You can cut this out, that top piece, and save it. There's nothing that's stopping you. If it's not going to be seen, I say cut it up. I am going to take some of those scrap pieces though and cut out some of those white flowers that are on the pattern paper, and those are going to pop up off my cards. I'm also going to take this very, very tiny stripe that's from this multi-patterned paper right here, and I'm going to cut that out, and that is going to go onto my design. I have no idea what vacation my brain took to step in and grab that one tiny little strip of pattern paper. But here we are. This is where we ended up. I'm going to take my second piece of pattern paper and make this a little bit smaller than the A2. So the two border dies that were on the sides of the card are going to be able to pop out underneath this one. Isn't this paper gorgeous? It's so pretty. And I assure you, if you have been paper crafting for a while, look at that. So nice. If you've been paper crafting for a while, you have stuff in your stash that speaks to you the way this speaks to me. So it's not going to be the same pattern paper. You pull out whatever you got. All right, we're going to start putting together these cards. This part was very, very simple. I kept it simple for a reason. So I'm going to put down with some art glitter glue here on the top of my cardstock. I'm going to add my little strip. Doesn't that just add something? It kind of breaks up the top and the bottom. That was what I was going for, but I definitely still wanted to show my little border die because it's so pretty. And then I'm going to take, this is the sentiment that comes in the small die of the month, and it's thank you. You can either cut this into paper and leave it there, or you can use the rectangle border die and cut it out. So you have the actual sentiment separately. So that's what I'm doing here. I actually did that for all three. I cut out 3 thank yous. I pulled out glitter cardstock from my stash in a couple colors. And I'm just using up stuff today. We are being productive. So to break up that little bit of white space on the top, I'm going to add those coordinating flowers right up there. So that's another thing you can do. That's one of the techniques you can do with your cardstock, is not just use it for its own background, but cut it up and make your own background. On this one, I am going to place this other, it's sort of coordinating matching cardstock to the other one. And this would actually be a really fun set to give someone so that they can give away because they coordinate and they match, and it would be pretty to do that. But I don't know. Some people like to coordinate their cards when they're making them. I usually don't care, but I really thought this was kind of fun to see them all three come together and like work off of each other. But if you're sending them out separate, no one's going to know. They're not going to be like, where's its twin? So I think it's just one of those personal preference type things when you're making your cards. I am going to be using some art glitter glue again to lay down this sentiment here. And I go back to it later and I added a white glitter cardstock frame to that, but I don't think it's necessary. Also, if you don't measure it correctly, it could lay over your card. These are A2 size cards, so that's 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And so just be careful when you're measuring. I did want them as flat as possible though, because I plan on sending these out through the mail. And I love thank you cards because their thank you is universal. You could thank people for anything. Thank you for calling me. Thank you for a gift. Thank you for being there when I'm going crazy as I homeschool and juggle life. Just thank you. Thank you for all the things. So I'm going to put this one down. I did not show you, but I actually popped up the pattern paper onto that border die background first with some foam tape. And now I'm going to put it on this really pretty green glitter cardstock that I have had for way too long. So if you saw a recent video of mine, I did top 10 consumable products that just don't seem to go away. I'll link it at the end of this video if you want to check that out. And I heard a lot of feedback from you all because I left out some serious ones, and pattern paper and glitter cardstock that I've been hoarding for years is definitely on the list. So there might be a follow-up video to that. We will see. I'm going to close off all these cards with some neat and tangled magic sequence. It's just an iridescent type sequence, and it catches the light and adds just such a beautiful sparkle. So here are my 3 designs. 2 of them are very similar. I went with the same design, just different layouts of the sentiments. And this one in the middle here with the border dies, loved the way that came out. Again, a little bit outside of what I normally do, but I just enjoyed it so much. We're going to take a look at some of these close up here. I'm going to show you a bunch of different photos, and this way you can kind of see how they came together. So as I close out this video, just wanted to wish everyone wellness and happiness. And I hope that no matter what challenges life is bringing you right now, that again, we just kind of be kind to ourselves. I think of all the people we need to be kind to first is ourselves. I think there's a lot of pressures that might be laid upon so many of us in such different ways. So just a nice friendly reminder to be nice to yourself. You're doing your best. We're all trying to do our best to make it through. And I just wish you all a wonderful, wonderful week. And we will see you in the next video. On the screen here, you'll see some videos that might be of interest. You can click on those until we meet again. Have a great one. Bye-bye.